In this video presentation, I am going to discuss how you can interact with the TempTrak pop-up notification window. For the purpose of demonstration, I'm using a sensor that we're going to call a fake blanket warmer sensor, and we'll be demonstrating what happens when a blanket warmer is too cold in this particular demonstration. Okay, so I'm going to trigger my simulator to give a low temperature condition. And this is normally what you'll see on your display when a pop-up alert takes place. That audible sound that you heard if you have speakers connected to your computer is the sound you'll hear when a pop-up message alerts arrives. That sound will probably repeat itself and become very annoying very quickly. I have my sound set up to not loop, so that way it will not loop through more than one time. So it's enough to get your attention if you're in the area, but it will not annoy you. Okay, so on this screen, I'm going to zoom in here real quickly. This screen will show us all the information about the sensor that's in an alert. You'll notice right here that the alert time is stamped. It tells us the location, in this particular case the fake blanket warmer. It's some other information about the sensor and so on. It also, here in this flashing yellow banner, gives us what the current reading is at the time of the alarm, and even tells us whether that's too high or too low here in this case, and what the normal range should be, 95 to 130 for a blanket warmer. We're going to skip over these two buttons here for right now, and we're going to move down to this notification alert actions area. Here we attempt to put in some basic troubleshooting steps for you to take, and so these would be obvious things to do. Now, if you'll notice, these steps don't really relate to blanket warmers very well. The first one does, check the door, but these steps are basically pertinent to refrigeration, like food storage, patient food storage. So we'll discuss this in more depth as we can. Right now, just know that that's here. We can customize this any way that it needs to be customized. It's just not exactly right at this point. All right, so back up to these two buttons. The close button, you don't want to use that, because what will happen there, when you hit close, it closes the alert and gets it out of your way, but if you forget to go check on this device, it has a serious problem. You could be left with, a warmer full of cold blankets that would take, several hours to come back up to a comfortable temperature. Or in the case of an over temperature condition, you may have some other serious consequences to deal with. So don't close the alert. You're better off to go ahead and open the alert window. So I'm going to do that right now, and when I do that, you'll notice here that I come up with, once Cooper Atkins TempTrak wakes up. Okay, looks like we're still waiting up here. There it is. Okay, at this point, this is your normal TempTrak view. If you are a nursing supervisor, this is what you'll see. And you'll notice up here we have a banner flashing that says there are 9 sensors that have triggered an alarm. Well, you can see that those sensors reside in one of these 4 red boxes. These red boxes indicate that you have sensors that are out of range in those areas. And again, what these boxes are groups of sensors. So for instance, under blanket warmers for a day shift, you can see we have 10 sensors and there are 10 blanket warmers. One of those 10 are actually in an alert condition. One or more of those 10. Okay, it looks like here in this case it says 2 sensors are in alarm state. Okay, so you can see a lot about what's going on in these boxes. You can drill into this. This might be already known information. By the way, people always ask what this I is. If you hover over the I, it shows you the complete group name here. Blanket warmers, day shift areas. You can see it's sort of hidden in this particular field. We can drill down in here. We can And by the way, the little bell just means this group has a sensor with an alarm. Okay, so let's drill down in here real quickly. Just take a quick look. Okay, I'm going to click on that, and you can see here that you can see the state of all of your blanket warmers. Now, when you get into this view, when you drill down into a group, what you see is you can see blanket warmers that are too cold have a blue box. Blanket warmers that are too warm have a red box. And then there are the Goldilocks boxes that are actually green. Would have been nice if they would have made them gold. But in this case, they're green, meaning go, everything is good with that particular device. So you can kind of scroll through here and take a look at all of these, okay? But we can see right now that the one we're dealing with is too cold. This is the fake blanket warmer, all right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scroll back to the top. I'm gonna click on this TempTrak icon. That will take me back to my home screen where we started. Okay, so now we've responded to that pop-up notification by opening the view, and we are now here looking at the 9 sensors that have triggered alarm. We're going to click on this banner. When we do, we'll see a list of all of the 9 sensors that are giving us trouble. Right now, since most of these are in a test mode, we're going to ignore those, but for the purpose of this video demonstration, we're going to focus on this fake blanket warmer Rover 4. Now, anything that's underlined and that gives you a pointer finger like that means it's something that you can click on and drill down and get more information. We're not going to do that at this time. I may show that to you later on, but right now, I just want to let you know that there are links here that you can actually get some further information from. Over here we see an alert time. This is the time of day that that particular alert took place. And then the actual reading, the temperature reading at the time of the alert. Blue signifies cold, red signifies warm or hot. And then there's the normal range for the temperatures, 95 degrees to 130 degrees in the case of a blanket warmer. Okay, over here on the right we have 3 other links. There's a view notifications. All this does is it tells us who received these notifications. If I click on that, you'll notice here that that there's a line item that says this pop-up message was sent to laptop PCE 148. Well, that's my laptop. And you can see that it was a successful pop-up window, and it happened at that particular time. So let me zoom out. I'm going to close this box. We're back to our list of links here. Under this link, we have View Notes. View Notes allows us to look at a list of notes that may have been left by other people who have worked on this particular alert. Sometimes, you know, a user like yourself will make a note on an alert saying, hey, you know, there's something going on with this. Could you please look at it? Here's what I saw. Here's what I heard. You know, and you're going to leave that alert open, and then a maintenance person may open up that same alert and say, okay, this is what she saw, this is what she heard, these are the actions I'm going to take, you know. So if there are any notes, they'll be listed here, and I'll show you more about that later. Then this link, Clear Acknowledge, is the one I really want to stress right now. There's a real important difference between these 2 verbs. Let's take a look here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and you'll notice here that we have some information about this this alarm that's taking place. We have all the sensor information here, time of day information, temperatures, and so on. What I want to focus on, though, are these comments. Let's see if I can scroll down here. All right, and these 2 action buttons. This is a list of canned responses that can be placed into this text field, okay? And most of these can be used most of the time because this is what we usually run into. And sometimes, you know, by the time you look into a problem, the device may have returned to normal range. You can just click on that particular comment and it'll populate the box for us, okay? In this case, we're not going to go there yet. So these are considered standard actions, but you can also free text into this area. Okay? So you can say whatever you want. You can write a book if you want. It's really good to leave detailed messages for people who are going to be following up on anything that you have found. So be as as detailed as you can be here. There's plenty of room for your text. Here it is, the acknowledge clear functions. Now, let me tell you what acknowledge does. Remember in the beginning of the video I said don't use the close button, because if you do, you will forget about the alert and it'll just be sitting back there and nobody knows anything until they open up TempTrak and see that flashing banner on the top and go, oh gee, we have a problem. Acknowledge is basically the same thing, except that acknowledge allows you to leave a comment with the alert so that anyone else who looks at that alert can read your comments. When you do that, that alert is still active, and so that particular device, in this case the fake blanket warmer, will never alert again because it's still active. It has no need to continue to alert and re-alert. Now, there are such things as escalations and so on. We're not going to talk about that in this context, but right now, let's just say though that you don't really want to use acknowledge unless you are intending to pass this problem on to someone else or maybe even yourself later. But instead, what we're going to focus on here is clear. What clear does is exactly what it says. It clears this alert. There's no longer an active alert or an alarm sitting here. And so the next time that sensor takes a temperature reading and sees that it's out of range, it's going to re-alert. It's going to send another pop-up notification to your computer. Okay, and it's important for you to know too that TempTrak does this on 15-minute intervals. So if I clear this alert, it could be anywhere within 15 minutes from the time I clear this that I could get a secondary alert if I have not corrected the problem. So in this case, let's just say, okay, the blanket warmer is too cold. I went back and checked it, and when I looked, the door was found open. Okay, wow. So I'm going to click on this canned response. Now, by the way, notice that my pointer turns to a finger only when I'm over the arrow. When I'm over here, it does nothing. I can click this all day long and nothing's going to happen. But when I click on this arrow, you know, every time I click on it, I get an entry here in the text field. Now, so found door open. Okay, you know, we'll you can say we'll clear this alert, whatever you want to say. Or don't say anything beyond the door found open. That pretty much says it all. Now, when you clear this alert, you'll notice that that it dropped off the list. It's no longer here at the top of our alert list. So that means that the next time this condition arises, or the next time the sensor takes a temperature reading, it will re-alert. So let me go ahead and close this. And I'm going to go ahead and press the trigger the alert to take place one more time. So there it is. Okay, so again we see, okay, the blanket warmer is too cold, you know, and closing the door evidently did not fix the problem. So we're going to open this alert window one more time. We're going to log in. Okay, and you can see now we have a flashing banner up here, and there's our fake blanket warmer Rover 4 in alert again. Now, since you've already dealt with this once, and you know, and you thought maybe you'd fix the problem by closing the door, you're going to, in this case, go to clear acknowledge, and you're going to probably say something like, closing the door did not fix the problem, you know, but or we'll wait another 15 minutes. Okay, so you're going to do that. You're going to say, gee, I'm going to give it another 15. Maybe it just was so cold it just didn't get quite up to the temperature, because this time the temperature was a little bit warmer, but it needs more time. So I'm going to go ahead and clear it. So you clear it. You go out. Okay, 15 minutes goes by, and there you go again. We have another alert. You go ahead and open the alert window. This time you're thinking, okay, there's something up. I've really got a problem. I'm going to drill down into the alarm view. There's my blanket warmer. And I am going to go to clear acknowledge, and this time what I'm going to say is I've notified maintenance, and put a note in here. The door was closed, but the device still did not warm up. Okay, so let's put it like that. So notified maintenance, the door was closed, but the device still did not warm up, and we're going to come down here and click on our, this is a good case of where you would use acknowledge instead of clear, because you don't want this thing to keep coming back to you every 15 minutes with, hey, I'm still too cold, I'm still too cold. So to basically stop any subsequent alerts from taking place, you're going to acknowledge this. Now, since and hopefully you've also followed up by notifying maintenance and they've got a work order sitting there, or you made a phone call or whatever. They're going to dial into this system when they start troubleshooting, and they're going to say, well, let me take a look at what's going on here. So they're going to go into this, the alert banner here, and they're going to see fake blanket warmer is still in this list, and they're going to see here a little symbol of a head and shoulders, meaning that somebody has responded to this, somebody has acknowledged this. So I'm going to take a look to see what those notes are, if any, and there has to be something in there, and of course there is. Notified maintenance, the door was closed, but the device still did not warm up, and there's the timestamp that when the notification was left, and here's the person who entered the notification. So this gives a lot of information for the maintenance person. The maintenance person is going to take the blanket warmer apart. He's going to find a blown fuse, and the maintenance worker is going to come over here and say, okay, found problem related to blown fuse. And then he'll, of course, wait until that returns to normal temperature, and he'll probably click this little deal here saying return to normal temperature. And at that point in time, he can click clear, and the alert will disappear from the list until the next failure. So that is, in a nutshell, how you would deal with the pop-up notifications. Now, one of the things I wanted to discuss with you too is how to interact from this list with these links that are on the alert notifications here. So let me simulate another condition. Okay, I'm going to just open this alert window, and I'm already there, so it should just pop right back. I'm going to drill down to my alerts, take a look at what's in there. And there's my fake blanket warmer. Here's something you can do that can be helpful to you, and it's usually very helpful to our maintenance guys, and that is that we can click on this link, and when you do, it's going to take you to a sensor record, and this record has some valuable information. There's a lot of information here about the details on the sensor itself, what the current temperature is. If there are notes on this, you can actually view notes from here, and there's some profile details. There's also on the right-hand side some very valuable information. We have a graph that represents the temperature range of that device over the last 24 hours. You can look at earlier history by clicking on a calendar up here to change the date range for this graph, so you can get more information on how previously this device performed. There's information down here that it's basically a legend that shows us what the symbols on the chart represent, and you can see that the minimum range is shown down here in the bottom, and that the maximum range is shown by this red line up here. You can see the yellow dotted line here represents the average temperature that this device has been operating at over the last 24 hours. And over here you can see that this thing has triggered 16 alarms in the last 24 hours, and you can see all of them right over here. Now, you can drag or click and drag across this range, and you can zoom in on that area. And now you can probably, if you had the patience, you could go in and just count every one of these. I can get more and more detail as I expand this. If I want to see the last 24 hours again, I just go back to show all. So when you hover over these, you can see what the temperatures were and the time frames that these alarms took place. Let me just pull these in a little bit. So like here are some of our over temperature conditions. This one took place at 9:55 a.m. this morning, as you can see down here, and it alarmed at 131 degrees, so that's an over temp condition. Go back to show all. Let me get these little ones over here. You can see our low temperature indication here was 92.1. It's below the 95, and so it triggered an alarm at 11:50. Okay, so go back to show all. Down lower here, we have a table, and this table gives you a lot of information of the history of that particular alarm. You can scroll through this and look at history for 24 hours right here. Get detailed line by line information on temperatures. Okay, so a real good way to kind of look over your shoulder and see how this system has been trending. All right, so anytime you want to go back to the home screen, just click on this TempTrak logo right here, and that takes you back. Okay, I think that may be all I have for this segment of the video. So I am going to log out of here. If you have any other questions, you can reach me. My name's Wayne. I'm at extension 2290 in the biomedical office. You can also email me at waynep@unionhospital.org. Thank you.